What up, YouTube? It's your boy Blingo back here with another video. Hope y'all all been living y'all truth. Now listen, man. Yo, my boy DeVille, he ain't DeVille no more because he been cooking up like crazy. His new name is The Grill now because he just been cooking up. Now look, man. He got a video talking about this Hidden Hills business. Drake, I don't know what the freak going on with you in this Hidden Hills, man. It seemed like people know about it. It seemed like Kendrick know about it. It seemed like Rick Ross knows about it. What the freak is going on in the Hidden Hills? That's because it's not looking so hidden no more. It's looking like people found it. But we're going to go into the Ville's video. He said, clues emerge of Drake's suspicious activity at the Hidden Hills. Like, Vlad is the one who exposed it. But we're going to dig into it. I was in the Ville's last stream last night. He was digging into it. And then he made a video. Let's go check it out. I want to hold y'all. No more. Let's go.
Conversation that we had last night talking about Hidden Hills. We had talked about Hidden Hills last time because of DJ Vlad. DJ Vlad did an interview with Academics where he had talked about Drake and this YOLO estate. This YOLO estate was in the Hidden Hills where Drake used to live at when he stayed in California. Now, this is close to Calabasas. This is when he had a conversation with Academics, and he had told Academics that he wouldn't be surprised if Drake covered up some type of suspicious activity that happened there because of all the parties that he threw there. Now, it turns out last night we had found some things out that's related to Hidden Hills. But just for a quick refresher, I'm going to play the clip right now of where DJ Vlad has said that there was some suspicious activity.
I will say, though, you know what I was impressed by? With all the shit and say not like us and everything people talking about Drake, not one chick even erroneously filed a lawsuit or like, I thought there was going to be a few of those to take advantage of the moment. And there's been not one person that's accused Drake of anything.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if some shit starts coming out. Well, from what I understand, when Drake first moved to like Hidden Hills, like they were wilding out in that house, and him and his homies were doing.
Woo! They was wilding out in that house. Come on, man. What y'all think Drake was doing in there? What y'all think he was doing in that house, man?
Some shit that probably got covered up somehow. You know what I'm saying? And now maybe people got paid. And
maybe they're just partying.
I heard some stories, you know, but and I'm not going to mention them.
They was getting it in type shit.
I mean, some things could happen.
Maybe he's paying them off. Like, yo,
I think Drake is just paying them off. And so, I mean, listen,
So that got everybody's attention. That got everybody's ears ringing. They wanted to know, what did Vlad mean by that? Why is he saying that something happened at Hidden Hills? Or why is he saying that something could have happened at Hidden Hills to where Drake had to pay to cover it up? A very strange thing.
Nah, he didn't say it could have been happening. He said it has been happened. And let me tell y'all something. This is not the first time I heard that. Wack 100 kind of alluded to that before too, when he said that Drake, he could be the next R. Kelly. And so did Kanye West also kind of like compared Drake to R. Kelly. Both of them did that. So something's going on in the Hidden Hills. And mind you, Kanye used to live up the block from Drake when he was living over there. So let's keep that in mind. Let's keep it going.
Thing for Vlad to say out of nowhere. And it had people thinking, well, what happened? Now, like I said in the last video, when I had talked about this property was owned by somebody that has the LLC, Richard Fitzenwell. Now, the Richard Fitzenwell LLC is owned by Drake. We know that because of Ebony Prince, because Ebony Prince had revealed that Drake's alias at the Mark Hotel was Richard Fitzenwell. Now, remember, Ebony Prince was the person that obtained the items from Meet the Grams from Drake at this hotel and was able to expose his name as being Richard Fitzenwell, a.k.a. It Fitzenwell. Because of that, we were able to find out that he had the Richard Fitzenwell LLC, and this is what he later on used to purchase the property over there in Calabasas, over there at Hidden Hills. Now, he later on eventually had sold it to Matthew Stafford. For whatever reason, Matthew Stafford ended up trying to sell the property shortly after, not because he's leaving California. He's apparently still staying in California, but for whatever reason, he just doesn't want anything to do with this property.
Because there's too much craziness going on in that property. It's too much craziness connected to that property. That's crazy. Like, you see my boy DeVille, he's been cooking up, man. Cooking up.
He's selling it for only $12 million. He had bought it for $11 million. So it just shows you that he really wants to get out of this property. It makes you feel like what DJ Vlad was saying, is that the reason why Matthew Stafford doesn't want to own this property? Because of the recent owner, Richard Fitzenwell, aka Drake. And now we have Vlad out here saying that there was something going on over here at the Hidden Hills. There's something going on, and Matthew Stafford didn't want anything to do with it. So eventually he tried to sell the property later on. Now, what we found out eventually, because we started looking into Hidden Hills, we started trying to figure out well, what exactly is going on over here? And one of the biggest clues that we had came across last night about Hidden Hills was Splash Brothers. Splash Brothers was an original song that had featured Drake and French Montana. Later on, the song had came out, but it didn't have Drake anymore. It only had Lil Wayne. So Splash Brothers, the original song, the first verse has Drake in it. And Drake talks about the Hidden Hills. Drake says, yeah, on Double MG, I'll F a rapper's wife. She ain't even my type, but I'll make the sacrifice. Have her splitting thighs like she work at Gladys Knights. Yeah, I was never nothing nice. Guys know the real secrets left in Hidden Hills. And this is the part that we were talking about. Guys know the real secrets left in Hidden Hills. Bought the whole street up and I got it for a steal, which is funny for him to say because we know for sure when he had bought the property, this is when he had sold the property to Matthew Stafford for 11.
What the freak was going on in the Hidden Hills, son? What was going on in the Hidden Hills? What is so hidden in them hills? Somebody got yo, what y'all think was going on in the hills? Let me know in the comments. What y'all think was going on in them hills, man? Come on, man.
11 million. This is the buyer, this is the seller. But right here, Richard Fitzenwell, which is Drake, he's the buyer, and he bought it for almost 3 million from a Gopher Diego Aleo. So he actually did get it for a steal because then they ended up selling it for 11 million when he just bought it for 3 M's. This is proof that Drake not only had sold the compound for Matthew Stafford for 11 million, but in the song with French Montana, he admits that he bought the whole street up for a steal. I guess he did when he gets it for 3 million and sells it for 11. So we know that he's talking about Hidden Hills because of this, and we know he's talking about the Yellow Estate because of this. Guys know the real secrets left in Hidden Hills. So what are the secrets exactly? I guess Drake didn't even want people to answer that question because this song got scrapped. Now, for sure, this song is out, but it only has Lil Wayne on it. Drake had stopped this song from being out so severely that he had to send a cease and desist. And this is why him and Rick Ross started beefing. This is the reason why Drake and Rick Ross started beefing really bad online, was because he had sent French Montana a cease and desist for this record.
Yeah, so it's that song. That's the song he sent it. Yo, that's crazy, yo. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Rick Ross had talked about this song later on. Eventually, he had came out and had made this song where he had dissed Drake. And this was Champagne Moments. This was a song that had came out right before the beef had kicked off with Kendrick Lamar. But it's what Rick Ross says at the end right here is what catched a lot of people's attention. Right here, Rick Ross says, I unfollowed you because you sent a mother effing cease and desist to French Montana. You sent the police, hated on my dog's project. That wasn't the same person that I seen when we were making them early records. Now Rick Ross is saying that he has sent the cease and desist to French Montana because of this record. We could confirm that because eventually it had been reported on the news. It says Drake did send French Montana a cease and desist. It says here that he eventually had sent it. And then this is when they had talked about Rick Ross, talking about how he didn't like that he did that to French Montana. But it doesn't end there because
he had to do it, though. He had to do it. He had to send a cease and desist because things just get so muddy. You know what I mean? Maybe he told French Montana, like, yo, don't put the record out. I don't want you to put it out. But the label and everything might be like, yo, this is Drake. Put it out. This is Drake. Put that record out with Drake. Put it out. So he had to probably do something crazy and be like, yo, I'm sending a cease and desist. But you know what? He probably should have had that conversation with them. And Ross probably understands, you know what I mean, why he really did it. So I think Ross might be overreacting a little bit, but he had good reason to doing it, even though it seemed like he was doing some crazy stuff in the Hidden Hills, though. I ain't gonna lie, man.
Because when we watch the music video for this song, there's a part that Rick Ross says in the song that caught my attention with the music video. He says, told y'all guys to stay scheming. I predicted my fate. Got more money than you. If you want me to say 50 mil for the crib where you want me to stay. And I think it's important when he says this 50 mil for the crib where you want me to stay, because in the music video, when he says that, this pops up right here.
50 mil for the crib where you want me to stay.
So he says 50 million for the crib where you want me to stay, implying that he's talking about a house. What are you talking about, a house on the Hidden Hills? Because then Rick Ross has shared the shirt, the back of his shirt says Hidden Hills.
What the freak is going on in the Hidden Hills, man? What the freak is going on in the Hidden Hills? And you know what's crazy? The Weeknd On his song The Hills, he says, the hills have eyes, the hills have eyes. Maybe he was dissing Drake. Maybe he was dissing Drake since back then. Because remember, they was up and down. I might have found something. Ville, put that in your video.
So now I'm thinking, well, wow, does Rick Ross know what's going on with Hidden Hills? Does Rick Ross know what's going on with what DJ Vlad had talked about? And is he exposing it because Drake had sent a cease and desist to him in French Montana? I have followed you because you sent a mother effing cease and desist to French Montana. You sent the police and hated on my dog's project. That wasn't the same guy that I seen when we were making early records together. Now, Rick Ross is upset because Drake had sent that cease and desist. But I'm thinking that Drake had sent that cease and desist because of the fact that he didn't want anybody to hear him talk about the real secrets left in Hidden Hills. And out of spite, Rick Ross makes a diss record called Champagne Moments. And when he talks about a crib, he shows the back of his shirt in the music video that says Hidden Hills. The same thing that DJ Vlad had talked about when he said that Drake could have paid to cover up some suspicious activity that happened at that party compound.
There's been not one person that's
coming out. Well, from what I understand, when Drake first moved to like Hidden Hills, like they were wilding out in that house. And him and his homies were doing some shit that probably got covered up somehow. You know what I'm saying? And now maybe people got paid.
Well, maybe it was partying. Not like.
I heard some stories, you know, but and I'm not going to mention them.
It was getting it in type shit.
I mean, some things could happen.
Maybe he's paying them off. Like,
I think Drake is just paying them off. And so, I mean, listen.
Which makes me feel like I talked about in the last.
Now, that's kind of crazy that Academic said, oh, yeah, he's probably paying them off. That's your man's. That's your man's. That's why I think Ack is the double agent. That it's stuff like that that makes me think that he's a double agent. That whole thing was probably set up. That whole thing was probably honestly set up, bro. Like, come on, you going to just throw that out there and be like, oh, yeah, maybe he was paying something. Y'all keep thinking Academics is for Drake, man. Academics ain't really for Drake. He's playing them. He's playing all of us.
Last video, why Matthew Stafford decided to get rid of the property. I feel like Matthew Stafford had found out that this was Drake's party compound. There was a lot of stuff that went down there when he used to live there. And it just made me feel like Matthew Stafford just tried to get rid of the property altogether because he didn't want nothing to do with it. Why else would he sell the property for only an extra $1.5 million off the top? He bought it for 11 and he's trying to get rid of it for 12. Doesn't seem very profitable if you ask me. But moving forward, I really do think that Rick Ross was trying to send a message to Drake when he had made this music video. I think that he knows what's going on in Hidden Hills because why else would he wear this shirt during a diss track music video that he's sending out to Drake? This whole song is a diss record for Drake that he decided to make a music video for. I don't think that it's just a coincidence that he's wearing Hidden Hills. And in the same time as he's rapping the lyrics talking about a crib, he shows the shirt that says Hidden Hills where Drake used to own a crib at. Just feels like he's doing this on purpose to slight Drake. We have DJ Vlad, who's talked about Hidden Hills. We have Drake, who's talked about Hidden Hills in a scrapped verse. And then we have Kendrick Lamar, who seemingly is hinting towards 4 p.m. in Calabasas with 616 in LA. So we went back to 4 p.m. in Calabasas because this is basically Drake in Calabasas over there at the Hidden Hills. This is a song that he had created while he was staying there, or at least he was still living there at the time and owned the property, because this is back in June 2016. So we went back to 616 in LA and 4 p.m. in Calabasas, because 616 in LA is supposed to be imitation of 4 p.m. in Calabasas, 5 a.m. in Toronto. It's supposed to imitate Drake when he took the time and location of places and named it after a title of a song. But what was funny, and real quick side note here, when we were doing this.
Got a question for y'all. If Drake didn't write 4 p.m. in Calabasas, do we negate? Do we negate everything that's said? I mean, if he didn't write it, we can negate it. So Drake can honestly use that as his defense. Like, I ain't write this, guys. I was just rapping it. Somebody else wrote it.
The 616 in LA was the name of the song, but 4 p.m. in Calabasas was actually released and created on June 2016, which is 616 in LA. Drake had released the song on 616, and he was in California, or at least owned a property in California at Hidden Hills at the time of this release. Even going as far as sharing the same messages on here, he says something like this. He says, I guess it's different in the city I come from. All of a sudden, I got people showing how much they truly resent me. The whole demeanor just spells envy. They trying to tempt me. Now, this is Drake talking about how people on his team are resenting him and they envy him and all of this, right? So going back to 616 in LA, like I said, it shares the same sentiments, same similarities, where Kendrick talks about how his entourage is only there to hustle you. 100 people you got on salary, and 20 of them want you as a casualty. Now, I think that going back to this is showing us that Kendrick knows what's going on at Hidden Hills. Kendrick knows exactly what's going on. And the same similarities in the lyrics are showing you that, you know, going back to 616 in LA, the time matches the date of the song's release. Not only that, but it also has the similarities of when Drake is talking about people in his team resenting him. It also goes back to when Kendrick was saying that people want to see you as people want to see you as a casualty that you had on salary. The same similarities. Not only that, but Kendrick says, "What would Mike do?" And at the end, or at least not to the end or close to the end, Drake says something about Mike. He says, "When they told me to take an R&B guy on the road and I told them no and drew for Kendrick and Rocky, I tried to make the right choices with the world watching. Mike never tried to rap like Pac, and Pac never tried to sing like Mike." Which makes me think, is this the reason why Kendrick had brought this up at the end of the song when he said what Mike would do?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
It makes me feel like 616 in LA was also a reference to this right here. It looks like 616 in LA could have been a reference to 4 p.m. in Calabasas. And if that's the case, was Kendrick hinting towards the Hidden Hills? Was he hinting to Drake that he knows what's going on in the Hidden Hills? Because why would Kendrick make a song called 616 in LA, sharing the same similarities in the lyrics of 4 p.m. in Calabasas? Not only that, but 616 in LA shares the date that 4 p.m. in Calabasas was dropped. And when this was dropped, Drake was living in LA, or Drake was living in Calabasas. Makes me feel as if this was a sign that Kendrick knew what was going on when Drake lived in California. This could have also been a way where Kendrick Lamar could have been hinting at Drake and his escapades over there at Hidden Hills.
Yo, that's crazy. 616. Yeah, could have been. Could have been. Yo, Kendrick is too smart, bro. He's too smart, bro. This is not, all this stuff is not coincidence. This is not coincidences. This is real. Yo, Kendrick is something else, bro. Drake, oh man, Drake. Yo, don't be R. Kelly, bro. Please.
Just the slight thing that I had noticed when I was going over the lyrics yesterday. But that means that there could be a possible chance that Kendrick was referencing it. For sure, Rick Ross could have been referencing it. And for sure, DJ Vlad had already said what he said about Drake potentially covering things up at Hidden Hills. So you already have two for sure out of the three that have talked about Hidden Hills and have pointed out Hidden Hills. And it looks like there could be possibly, potentially, keep it alleged, something that could have happened at this compound when Drake had stayed there. Now, I'm not sure exactly what it is that DJ Vlad is referring to, but it shares the same similarities to what Rick Ross is talking about when he brings up Hidden Hills as well. What's crazy about all of this is that they bring up Hidden Hills at different times. DJ Vlad just did the interview with Academics a few days ago. This had came out last year in 2024. And I think a lot of people were just at the diss record because of the things that Rick Ross was saying. He was saying stuff about Drake, you know, about the surgery, about things like that. It really was something that the media ate up, but they didn't.
And that song is pretty good too. If y'all haven't heard that song, give that song a listen. Rick Ross kind of did go in though. He did. He went in a little bit.
Really understand the Hidden Hills message, because I think that this message was supposed to be something subliminal that only Drake would understand. I think this is why Rick Ross had made this music video this way. And it's interesting to know now that DJ Vlad is not the only person that's hinting towards Hidden Hills. Rick Ross could be hinting towards Hidden Hills as well. And it could possibly be Kendrick Lamar hinting towards it also. There was something definitely going on at this compound, because why all of a sudden all of these other individuals are talking about Hidden Hills as if something went down. And remember, this property was owned by Drake with the alias Richard Fitzenwell, meaning that this property was literally owned. This party compound was owned by a man named Richard Fitzenwell on legal paper, on legal documentation in black and white. A party compound owned by somebody named Richard Fitzenwell is diabolical. Could only imagine the type of parties that Richard Fitzenwell is throwing. We already know that's the alias he likes to go by in the hotel, in the Mark Hotel. And there was a whole other freaky situation going on there. But apparently Drake likes to be called Richard Fitzenwell when he's doing a dirty deed. I guess that's something that he likes to go by. I guess it's another alter ego. Anita Max Win, Richard Fitzenwell, Drake. I guess that's what it is. But I think all of this, Rick Ross, DJ Vlad, Kendrick Lamar, I think all of this were other clues that potentially exposed Drake's escapades at Hidden Hills. I was completely shocked when I had saw that Rick Ross had pointed out Hidden Hills a while back. I feel like he was doing all of this on purpose to send Drake a message, subliminally, of course, because only Drake would know what this shirt would mean when it comes out in the music video. As of right now, this Hidden Hill situation, I feel like is getting deeper. I feel like the rabbit hole is getting deeper. I feel like there's a lot of things that need to be uncovered. And right now, these are the things that we found out last night on live. I wanted to make a quick recap video for everybody to watch, you know, in a shorter frame of time, just to see everything that we've found so far. If you want to check out the live, go ahead and do so. What do you think, bro? Do you think that Rick Ross was trying to hint towards the Hidden Hills?
What y'all think, man? What y'all think? What y'all think? That was, yo, he wasn't DeVille. He was the grill there. He was grilling up, cooking up. He figured out all that last night. I was in that stream. But listen, guys, listen. Drake is looking crazy out here. And I think as the further this UMG thing goes, the further it goes in court, the more it's gonna come out. I think these are all signs. And they're just telling them, like, look, you keep this going, here's a little bit more. I'm gonna put a little bit more out there. And watch when he almost win, just like Diddy. When he almost win, because they're saying that there's a settlement going on. Then they're gonna hit him with a video. Bang! Something hard. Or they're gonna hit him with like some audio or something crazy is gonna come out. Somebody's gonna come out. There's gonna be some kind of proof behind it. And then it's gonna be like, it's over. The whole court thing is over. So I think Drake needs to stop trying to sue UMG. Leave it alone, especially if you've been doing dirt. Leave it alone. What y'all think they was doing in that house, though? Nah, they probably was doing mad. It's not even funny. They probably was doing some crazy junk in there. It was probably a whole lot of freaky stuff going up in there. A lot. But I'm going to end the video right here, man. Let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram, Blingo for Vero. Yo, go check out the Veil, man, because he be grilling, man. And, you know, shop Vero, VeroClothing.net. Let me know what y'all think about this sweatshirt. This is a new one. I just made this last night. And I made, you know, thinking about what's going to be the next release. But I'll see y'all to the next video. Peace.